Hey, Awesomes. It's our first Friday this week. As you know, you got your discussion post, your initial discussion post due tonight. And just as a friendly reminder there, or I might not have mentioned this perhaps yet, the very first post that you make on our course website, the first one needs to be approved by me just so that I have, once I get everybody's in, I'll start approving those at some point later this afternoon, maybe this evening. And then after that, your posts will come up. So if you're worried that you're not seeing any posts yet, you will start to see all the posts later so that you can reply to those posts, and then you won't need to be approved after that. So just FYI. All right, so the purpose of today's video is to talk about the annotated bibliography, so that as you're reading, especially this week, right, we're starting off with chapters, I believe it's 1 and 9 in Markel. So kind of look at that real quick. So I'll minimize down here, try to keep this video as short as possible for you. All right, so here is Project 5, the Annotated Bibliography with the information sheet. Won't talk so much about the information sheet just yet, as that will come at the very last thing that you'll probably do. I'll talk more about the entries. So the big purpose of the Annotated Bibliography is to help us to really really help with the discussion post, right, as you're starting to talk amongst and between not only yourselves, but also with the different texts that we read throughout the semester, maybe how they work together with one another. So let's look at the assignment prompt. So you read specific chapters from our textbooks. We'll also have some supporting text. We'll have some articles beginning next week that we'll read as well. And this will help ensure we are equipped with a sufficient knowledge base and preparation for our future in technical communication writing. So we're going to develop this annotated bibliography. We're going to talk about the summary option. And each week's reading should be written in APA format and contain a minimum of 250 words per entry and follow the annotated summary style as detailed in the Purdue OWL website. So I went ahead up here, and I've got the link here, and I'll put this link will also be in this week's weekly module. So I've got the overview as kind of what it is, right? And really what we're kind of doing right now is just kind of beginning, especially these first two, is kind of summarize what did Markel say, and then next week what did our author say about technical communication, or in this case here we have what is technical communication in chapter 1, and then chapter 9, what is professional correspondence in a way. All right, so here's a sample MLA annotation, which I would like you to ignore, and focus on the APA annotation. You'll see that the annotation right here, this is what how yours should look, right? So in this case you would have Markel M 2000, I believe it's 17, it might be 16, I think it's 17, the title, etc. right there, and the publisher. And then you've got your paragraphs, or maybe in our case here we would have a paragraph, and we would say, then we would have our summary information right there. So focus on the sample APA annotation. All right, so let's go back to the page for a quick sec, and let's click the link here. And so we're going to talk about summarizing right here, okay? Some annotations merely summarize the source. What are the main arguments? What is the point of this book or article or chapter? What topics are covered? If someone asks what this article or book or chapter is about, what would you say? The length of the annotations will determine how detailed your summary is. At 250 words, we should be able to have a fairly detailed summary for each one of your entries. And then if you are not as familiar with paraphrasing sources, right, so that we are not plagiarizing, feel free to click on that, and if you need a refresher or whatever for paraphrasing, then make sure that you are familiar with that. I'd rather you paraphrase than try to work in specific quotes. So I want this to be the majority of your words in your annotated bibliographies. And if you want to know the purpose, right, here's why we do it, is to learn about the topic, right? So chapter 1, we're going to be learning about what technical communication is according to Markel, and then what he has to say about professional correspondence. And so we're going to summarize some of those things, help us really start to engage with these texts. And they will also help us with our, as I said earlier, also help us with our discussion board posts, right? So really get into the information in the text. All right, so you've got the three things here that we're going to culminate into in the information sheet. We'll talk more about the information sheet later. That's, like I said, that's going to be one of the last things that we do as we're annotating. You might piece out some ideas, so feel free to be familiar with these three things that are going to go onto your information sheet. And again, the minimum requirements, which you've already kind of talked about. And so the final one, your completed annotated bibliography, as you're keeping them up every single week, is not due till Sunday, December 10th, right, as we get very into the semester. So Let's see if I can't get back into the... There we go. All right, guys. You guys are awesome. Starting off the week very, very well. Keep an eye on everything. I'll try to post the weekly module early this week, sometime over the weekend, and we shall go from there. As always, if you have any questions or if there's anything more that I can do for you, please do send me an email and let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, wish you all a most wonderful weekend, and stay safe and enjoy the long weekend. I'm still going to post the weekly modules and all that kind of stuff over the weekend, but we'll just take it from there. All right, stay safe. Bye, awesomes.